Gonna bring on Mr. Joshua Hill, fan-sided overmind, editorial overmind, and and one half of A Song of Dan and Josh, the show where we walk through each and every chapter of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, his as yet unfinished masterpiece of fantasy fiction. Josh,
indeed,
how are you?
I'm good. It feels weird only being on half the show now.
Right, it's kind of you're here the last 2 weeks for the full kit and caboodle.
I know. I said last week that I was on every week for a Song of Dan and Josh, and Julie called me out and said in all caps, most weeks. And I was like, okay, got you, Julie, loud and clear. I was going to mention that last week, but
she just said hi to you, by the way.
I forgot. Hi everybody, and hi Julie. I was going to mention that last week, but it stuck with me all week. And I'm just going to mention it. I wrote it on a Post-it note and everything.
There's also a comment on our YouTube page decrying you for just not knowing enough about
a number of things. Did
you read it?
Number of things. I didn't know. I do enjoy the comments, though.
Yeah, we love our commenters, especially the nice ones. Okay, anyway, we're here. Keep them coming. We are here to talk about Theon II, a saucy chapter of A Song of Ice and Fire.
Otherwise known as Theon gets put in a box. It's amazing. He goes from 60 to 0 so quickly.
I mean, and frankly, like last time, he was already going from 60 to 0. He revved himself up again. What goes on in the chapter, Josh? What stood out for me from this?
Well, he unknowingly hits on his sister.
This was so disgusting.
It was brutal. Well, that's the thing. It goes from Theon being like, oh,
and by the way,
textbook Theon, I'm, swagger, and then he's just like, and it's not even like admirable what he's doing. He's hitting on somebody who
he didn't just hit on her. He like comes hard.
Yeah.
Like these are not subtle.
At a woman who is established she's in like face. A relationship.
My ears can hear your laughter, and my has gone hard as a mast for you. This is what he says to like a person he just met on the wharf. A pregnant lady too, no? The pregnant lady! Okay, he meets, by the way, the character's name in the show is Yara, but in the book, it's Asha Greyjoy. Mm-hmm. They changed it because they didn't want to sound similar to Osha, the wildling. That's what? You don't like that?
I don't know. It seems like, I feel like people would be able to make the distinction.
Okay.
Asha, Osha.
I mean, in the book,
they're on far different parts of the alphabet. Like Asha, Osha.
You don't think it sounds similar?
Asha,
Osha?
No,
I do.
Asha.
And in the show, they say it out loud. In the book, you can just read it.
That's true. I guess it's saying it out loud with all the weird accents might.
Yeah. Glad we're on the same page finally.
A little bit, yeah. But
yeah. But they change her name, and basically, so he's at the wharf. He's been assigned a ship. His father is still planning to invade the north. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't love the idea because he came here to try to get his father to help the North, to help Rob. And his father's like, nope, we're going to invade the North. I don't want to work with them. And Theon's made us he's going to work with his real family, not his adopted family, the Starks, for better or worse.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a Jew schnozzle. He hits on his sister, like really, really, really direct. Yeah, she's
like so hard. It's just like, my God. And then the tables turn and she just totally eviscerates him at the feast.
Why does she pretend to not know who he is? She says she's somebody named Ysgrid, a shipwright's wife.
She's trolling.
She says she's pregnant.
She's trolling. It's amazing. It's an amazing troll job. Isn't there a line somewhere in the chapter where she's basically like, I liked you better or something when you were Ygritte or Ysgrid, and she's like, I liked you better when you were a kid. Like,
yes, that's the last one.
I liked you better when you were a dweeb. So, I mean, she's trolling.
She is.
And it also is like encompasses how like Theon goes from this character. He is this character who thinks he is so much more important and so much cooler than he actually is. And at every single turn, he just gets cut down. Like immediately.
The back half of it.
It's
kind
stunning.
Of it's almost admirable the way he seems to maintain this level of ridiculous confidence, even though he's getting like every signal that
time.
he's not nearly as cool as he thinks he is.
No.
Like that happened last chapter too.
It did.
He came to the Iron Islands like all cocksure. Sorry. And then his dad like said, "You're not dressed right. You didn't steal this. You never killed anybody. You've been gone forever. You're a jerk. We're not going to help Rob. We're going to invade the North." And he's like, but now at the beginning of this one, he's back to being Theon again.
And then right back down.
And then he gets cut down again. Like,
totally gets put
how
in
many
check.
times is it going to take?
It is.
And actually, we know how many times. It'll finally stick when he gets his penis cut off.
R.I.P.
Yes, R.I.P. Theon's penis. I mean, to me, the incest stuff, it's so creepy because, like...
it's so aggressive.
It's not just, like, lust. Like, he actually starts to, like, become, like... At one point, it feels like he's almost, like, falling in love. He's like, where has this wench been all my life? He liked the way she walked. There was a boldness to it. Part saunter and part sway that suggested she would be just as bold beneath the blankets. Oh, God, why am I reading this?
Poor Theon. You guys had the Joker conversation earlier in the show. Is Theon like an OG incel character here? Because he has kind of the same
This
qualities.
is the time when this kind of thing is very, very rewarded. Like,
yeah, but I mean, like, if we're talking, like, you know, the Joker and that kind of move, that's a representation of that. Like, Theon definitely has, I mean,
who's
those
the incel
qualities.
in Song of Ice and Fire? I don't know. Lancel, maybe? I'm not sure there really is one.
I don't know.
I feel like no, because I kind of feel like in this world, like the incel worldview is one that kind of is very mainstream.
No, yeah.
Like, you know, you're supposed to be able to marry multiple women and to just kind of have everyone you want and have a state-sponsored girlfriend and get married off to somebody. Mm-hmm. Like, incels will do very well in the world of Song of Fire, especially on the Iron Islands, where things are even worse.
Theon doesn't. That's the point. Like, Theon gets cut down.
Theon has some problems. So they walk through, and she realizes, she says, I wanted to see who you were first, and I did. And yeah, I do love how completely flabbergasted he is. Although, you know what? To his credit, he does feel horrible about it. He groaned. He could not have possibly made a bit more appalling fool of himself, which is just, oh my God. It's just...
It's embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing.
So rough.
And again, just like the flagrancy of it. Like when they're on the horse together, he's like groping her. He's like, oh my God.
Goes all in. And then she's like, guess what, pal?
I love how confident she is too. Like, and how she clearly, like, she knows. She's saying hi.
She's got him. She knows she has him, and she's like, "You just wait for the payoff." And then she gets the payoff, and everybody's like, "Hey, Usha," and he's like, "What?"
I also like how they immediately go into brother sister mode after it's revealed. Like they're at the feast, and he's like, "Why didn't you tell me? It's a jerk."
That was a little alarming. I was like, "Oh, now we're just cool." Like,
and they weren't cool. He was mad at her, but he was mad at her in like a kind of petulant way.
It definitely took on a brother-sister relationship at that point. And I was like, all right.
I mean, there's one description where they're at the feast and they're like seated on like opposite sides of his father's chair, and he's like leaning back, going like, "Hey, why are you like that, you asshole, stupid?" And they're like hissing at each other throughout the bits, and it did seem very like sibling squabble to me.
It was, which is like a complete 180 from where we were before.
Maybe like they did know each other as kids, I guess. Yeah, it's a disturbing bit. It was a disturbing bit. Asha was like 2 seconds away from being like, I went way too deep undercover on this one. Mistakes have been made. But they luckily didn't get that far. So that's not the only way that Theon is humiliated and put down during the feast. The last part of it is they're at Pike, and his dad's having a big feast for all his people. And on top of coming on to his sister and being kind of rebuffed in the most embarrassing possible way, he is again kind of just made to feel very small at this thing. Like, I like the bit where, I liked this bit, where they're all kind of showing off like the trophies of the people they've killed. Because remember, Ironborn culture is very, very posturing and aggressive and macho. Yeah. And Theon, again, like, you know, he grew up with the Starks who are a little more sane. He just grew around killing people. But he has like this moment of like envy. Like, why don't I have a dead tooth around my neck? Where it's like, I might have taken something off that Wildling I killed to save Bran Stark, but he had nothing worth the taking. That's my cursed luck. I kill the poor. Which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny and you didn't laugh, but maybe that's just
sorry.
Anyway.
These books erode humanity.
Also the bit where Asha clearly shows him up in a huge way in terms of how much people like her. Like, I don't think this was maybe it wasn't this show, I don't remember. There's this bit where they're at the feast and, you know, he's sniping at her and she stands up, yells for an Ironborn guy to chuck an axe at her. He does, she catches it, and out of midair, slams it on the table, splitting the trencher of bread Theon is using in front of everybody. This is a big packed room, and says, "There's my lord husband," meaning the axe. His sister reached out inside her gown and drew a dirk from between her breasts, and here's my sweet suckling babe. And everyone laughs at Theon. Like, it's the whole, I mean, that in itself is kind of sexist, because that's the whole, like, oh, you were bested by a girl. You were like, she did things that you could never do, and you're, like, shocked at it, and now you have soup all over your clothes, and your dinner's ruined, and everyone's laughing at you. It's just
I mean, you could interpret that too.
I was going to call it a slow burn. It's not a slow burn. It's like a raging hot burn of embarrassment for Theon.
No, yeah, but you could also interpret that as like brother or sister. Like you've been bested by your older, or your sibling. You've been bested by your sibling, which is never a good feeling.
No? Do you have brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I got a brother's 2 years younger than me.
I never asked you that. So you're the older brother.
I am the older brother.
Do you see yourself in Theon and Asha?
I don't know.
Okay.
So
I never asked you that. I didn't know you had siblings. I'm a middle child.
No.
Anyway, I mean, she also points out that, if you had bothered to learn the first thing about Sigrun, the guy she said she was married to, I wouldn't have been able to fool you.
Yeah.
Basically, her question is like, why should people follow you when you don't know anybody? You don't do any research. You're a stranger here. And Theon says, I am their lawful prince. And Asha says, by the laws of the Greenlands, you might be, but we make our own laws here, or have you forgotten? So here's a question for you. And then the final indignity is that they're laying the plans to invade the north. And basically, Asha gets to go take a cool castle, and Victarion, who is not on the show at all, but he's Balon's brother, Theon's uncle, gets to go take a different castle, and Theon has to go harass the Stony Shore, which is just like, little villages, and, steal stuff, poke the north, basically. And he's mad that he doesn't have the cool job.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's recap. Comes on to his sister, makes a giant fool of himself. I assume everybody knows that the gossip gets around later, probably. Gets soup sputtered on him all over dinner. Yeah. After his sister catches an axe and destroys his trencher and just shows that she's way better at fighting than he is. Gets assigned the little baby work in this thing when he thinks he's going to get this hero's welcome coming home. Do we feel bad for Theon?
Not particularly.
Okay.
Because it's he's not a very sympathetic character. It'd be different if he was humble. It'd be different if it was like Jon Snow and he comes in and you're just like, I mean, there's no real reason to be rooting against him at this point. Theon is just would you hang out with Theon? No.
At this point, no.
No. And if you heard, I mean, if Theon was one of your friends, would you be like, yeah, you'd probably pull that friend aside and be like, we got to talk, man.
He wouldn't listen. Theon.
He wouldn't, but you would be like, that's the one friend where you're like, we don't want them to come.
I mean,
leave them off the group text. Theon gets taken out of all of the group texts for the Greyjoys.
Julie says he was cocky, pun intended.
He was.
Julie, yes. And Jane Westerling's too. And it always bugged her that they changed Asha's name.
Thank you.
I'm fine with it.
It's bugging me too.
It shouldn't, but okay.
I'm bothered. I'm deeply bothered. I'm going to write a letter to George.
You're bothered. It's very hard to like Theon. He's very entitled. He's obviously a sexist and a bit of a boor and just a jackass. So yeah, it's hard for sympathy for him. I wonder if we can get there, because I feel like his story is a tragedy at the end of the day. And he's gonna, looking back, I guess this whole book is he comes in confident, he's undercut. Yeah. Happened in the first chapter. Here again, he comes in confident, he's undercut. That's going to happen when he tries to invade Winterfell, which is what he does in the rest of the book. It's just an escalation of the same sort of thing until it finally sticks when he can't get out anymore. Is the Theon Greyjoy story.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a good arc, but right now we're not in Theon's corner.
I also he's thinking about how he'll marry off Asha when he becomes into his crown. He's very detached from what's really going on. That's about it, really, for Theon 2. Have any other comments, Josh?
No.
On this lascivious chapter?
Other than Theon is just a poser, and everybody knows it.
I will tell you to pay attention to the character of Wex. He's Theon's 12-year-old mute squire. Like there's this bit where like he's walking through the town with Asha, and people are like, they're like saying hello and they're bowing to her. And he walks into the bar where Wex is, and Wex is a mute, but he's like his eyes go wide because he recognizes her. And Theon thinks like, I've never seen a woman before, but really what he's recognizing who Asha is. And then later after he finds that, he goes to Wex like, why didn't you tell me?
He's like,
you little jerk.
There's like, Theon in a nutshell. Why didn't the guy who can't talk tell me this?
And this is a 12-year-old. He's dressed. The 12-year-old is cooler than him. The 12-year-old knows more and is savvier and is coming out looking better. But Wex is not in the show, for all I know, but he does play a role in the book. So just remember Theon's mute, smirking, kind of a sassy squire who is an interesting guy. All right. Any other comments, Josh?
No.
Let's see if anybody else.
What do we got next week?
That we have more Tyrion. Julie says, I think at the beginning he wanted to see him get his comeuppance. We wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, again, is also another, I think, technique Martin uses, where he gives you what you want, but, like, way too much of it. Like, you want Theon to get his comeuppance, but then by the time that, like, he's going to get tortured that much? No, it's okay. Or, like, you want Cersei to get her comeuppance, but then she has to march naked through the street, people yell at her and spit at her and throw stuff. Yeah. No, now I'm on her side.
It's the Simpsons meme. The stop, he's already dead. That is George R. R. Martin's specialty.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Like that and taking away things people need, like Jaime's hand and Theon's,
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be back next week with Tyrion 6 and more scheming, more finagling, more good family fun. Hope to see you Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time here on the Winter's Facebook page. And we also are available in podcast form on Google Play and wherever podcasts and iTunes podcasts are available. Thanks a lot. Bye.